Hi guys, it's Pastor Ken here. Just wanted to share another devotional thought with you and pray together in this video. And this week we've been looking at what the Bible has to say about hospitality, because we're actually allowed legally to be hospitable again, which is great because as Christians, hospitality is central to our worldview. It's central to who we are. It's central to our mission. Hospitality is central to our mission in the Great Commission, to go into all the world, right? Because biblical hospitality, what we've been learning this week is biblical hospitality is actually very different to the world's hospitality. World's hospitality is just to have people over that they know, people that they like, people that they're friends with. Actually, biblical hospitality, we saw all the way back on Monday, is extended to strangers. Biblical hospitality is extended to strangers in the hope, in the trust, in taking a risk that they will become friends. Biblical hospitality, as offered by the welcoming King that we saw on Wednesday, is by Jesus, who proclaims the year of the Lord's welcome, is all about proclaiming good news, or the Lord's welcome to the poor, the oppressed, those sitting in prison, the brokenhearted, the blind, kind of like the marginalized of society, right? Good news, not just to the rich, but to everyone. But actually even goes further than that, as we see in the book of Acts. The book of Acts is actually contains radical acts of inclusion. So today we're looking at acts of inclusion. Hospitality is about Jesus' inclusion of all kinds of different people and the result that comes from that inclusion. So I want to read to you from Acts chapter 8 verse 26 and onwards, and this is Philip's interaction with an Ethiopian. So now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, "Go south to the road, the desert road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza." So he started out, and on his way he met an Ethiopian eunuch, an important official in charge of all the treasury of the Candake, which means queen of the Ethiopians. This man had gone to Jerusalem to worship, and on his way home was sitting in his chariot, reading the book of Isaiah the prophet. The Spirit told Philip, "Go to that chariot and stay near it." And so basically Philip obeys the Holy Spirit, always a good thing to do, and goes and engages with this Ethiopian eunuch. And this Ethiopian eunuch is reading in the book of Isaiah, and Philip explains that Isaiah was actually prophesying about Jesus. This Ethiopian gets baptized immediately, and he goes back, and church history says that Ethiopia was either the very first or the second nation to adopt Christianity as its worldview, as its way to relate to God, as its religion. And which is powerful, right? But what we don't necessarily pick up while reading just the text here from Acts chapter 8 is that eunuchs in first century Palestine, in the Roman Empire world, eunuchs were treated as, they were treated unkindly. They had a very unkind reputation. And I don't even like using this word, but they were treated as deviants, as sexual deviants, as half men, half women kind of thing. And they were looked down upon and made fun of by people. And so, but here's the thing, Philip went up to this so-called deviant, showed hospitality, connected with him, didn't judge him, and a whole nation is saved. That's powerful. But then we go even further. Acts chapter 9. Ananias is called by the Holy Spirit to go to this dangerous man, Saul, and to welcome him and to pray for him and to show him love and kindness, right? And what happens is this guy Saul, this dangerous guy Saul, becomes Paul, the apostle to the Gentiles, and the Gentiles are saved. And then at the very end of Acts chapter 28, we have Paul, we were talking about in Acts chapter 9, we have Paul who ends up shipwrecked on the island of Malta, and he's the one who actually receives hospitality. So hospitality is not about us just giving, it's also about us receiving it. Paul receives hospitality from the Maltese. The Maltese were actually a despised people. They were treated as uncivilized and barbarian. That was their reputation, that was their stereotype. So here in the book of Acts, 3 radical acts of inclusion. Hospitality to the deviant, so to speak, hospitality to the dangerous, and even receiving hospitality from the despised. And salvation, people being saved, flows from all of them. Nations are saved through these radical acts of inclusion. And that's who we're called to be. We serve the welcoming King, and we're meant to respond by radically including people all around us. People that we might consider even, inverted commas, deviant, right? People that we might even consider dangerous. People that we might, for some cultural reason or whatever, despise. I pray that God does just as much work in each and every single one of us and in our attitudes as we show hospitality. But I also pray that as we show hospitality, biblically, just like in the book of Acts, that we would see people saved and nations saved. And well, that's an exciting prospect. So let me pray into that. Jesus, I thank you so much for who you are. I thank you are the welcoming King. And as we take up our cross and follow you, as we just are transformed by your Spirit, that we would engage in radical acts of inclusion, that we would include all sorts of people that we like, people that for some reason that we don't like, but people that we are different to, maybe have a different sexual ethic to, people who maybe might represent a risk to us, who are dangerous, people that we, in our past lives, we might even look down on and despise. God, there's no room for that anymore as a followers of you. And I pray, Lord, that we would show the world that what followers of you do is radically include everyone. And that as we do that, that you would meet us there in that place of radical inclusion, these acts of inclusion, and that you would save people's lives. That's what you've come, Jesus. Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. Well, guys, that's it from me. As always, I'm Pastor Ken. Be blessed.